clubhouse.
For 22 years, WKBT has broadcast a competition featuring the sharpest minds of our area high schools. Now that tradition continues. The St. Mary's College of Minnesota WKBT High School Challenge. From Studio A at 141 South 6th Street, La Crosse, here's the St. Mary's College of Minnesota WKBT High School Challenge.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our High School Challenge contest. Tonight, the final game of our round 3 of competition, tonight between Blair-Taylor and La Crosse Logan. Let's begin by meeting our squads, first from Blair-Taylor.
Hi, I'm Alec Crosse from Blair, Wisconsin. I'm a junior.
I'm Travis Nearing, a senior.
I'm Andy Scott, a senior.
I'm Treese Woke, a sophomore.
Our alternates are Elliot Corpier and our coach is Gary Bixby.
And here's our squad from La Crosse Logan.
Janet Barkoskas, sophomore.
Don Barkoskas, senior. Nathaniel Barmore, senior.
Adam Muirberg, sophomore.
Our alternate is Eric Martin, and our coach is Diane Gebhardt.
And serving as our judge for our contest of High School Challenge is Dr. Bob Pevitz from St. Mary's College of Minnesota, Winona. Hi, Bob.
Good evening. How
Glad
are
to
you?
have you back with us.
Good.
Have you had a good week?
Very good.
Excellent, and looking forward to a good night of
Yes.
High School Challenge. And once again, I like to ask this every other program or so for new viewers. What is your position at St. Mary's College of Minnesota?
Terry, I'm the Dean of the School of Fine and Performing Arts at the college.
And this is one of the finest performing arts I think I've ever seen.
Well, I hope so.
We're glad to have you involved in it and
Thank you.
to have lend your expertise here to our show. All right, Bob, we'll be back with our first round of questions right after this short break.
If you're a high school student considering college, take a good look at St. Mary's. This fall, we established a new enrollment record with nearly 1,300 undergraduate students. Hi, I'm Tony Piscatello, Vice President for Admission, inviting you to meet our admission counselors in your school this year and to visit our magnificent campus here in Winona. Call us at 457-1-SMC. We'd love to hear from you.
Let's say this is one of those typically beautiful tourism commercials, and seeing it, you wanted to do this. You probably couldn't find this place. After all, you're not from here. But when you come to Minnesota this summer, we'll help you find exactly the vacation you want. So if you want to be here, do some of this, or maybe see this, you should come here.
Need some ideas for your vacation? Get the Minnesota Explorer. It's free, and it's full of things to see and do all over the state. It'll also help you contact our travel counselors and other people who will help you find the getaway you want. Whatever it is, call 1-800-235-9000 for the free Minnesota Explorer.
Our High School Challenge final game of our third round. We started out at St. Mary's College of Minnesota Winona campus back last October with 32 high school teams from our area, schools from Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and we're whittling them down. And as I say, the final game of the third round, next week begins our semifinals.
Right.
We'll have it down to 4 teams, and then our Super Bowl contest comes up a little later past that. So all kinds of excitement here on the High School Challenge. First round, Bob, is a fun round. It's an individually answered round. We offer a question to the 4 team members, and then they work on their own, and if they know the answer, they signify by buzzing. Right. And if they get the answer correct, we give them 10 points. Now, if they choose not to answer, or if they get the answer incorrect, we offer the question to the opposite team, and we give that team an opportunity to gamble. It's a gamble because if they get the answer correct, they are awarded 5 points. However, if they are wrong, what happens, Bob?
They lose 5 points.
They lose
Right.
5 points. So you want to make sure that they know the answer before they buzz if they get into that situation. So we go back and forth like that for 20 questions or 7 minutes, whichever comes first. Right. And then we'll go on to our next round, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point.
Okay.
But right now, we did a coin toss during the commercial break, and Logan won the coin toss. They get the first question in our first round of our High School Challenge contest. So Logan, here you go. If test market is successful, Minnesota may become the first state to let people play a lottery on a home entertainment system. Which system will be used? Barkowskis.
Nintendo.
That is correct for 10 points. Blair-Taylor, the Speaker of the House, recently told members of Congress that they will no longer be permitted to do what at their exclusive House bank? Aaron.
Charge?
No, that's not correct. Logan? They will not, no longer be able to cash bad checks without penalty, which is what some of those folks were doing. So can't give you any points on that question. Logan, here's a 10-point question for you. Before the recent change, the former Soviet Union was planning the restructuring of its military to be more like that of the U.S. Armed Forces. Two reforms have been planned. One was to have a civilian defense minister. What was the other reform that they had planned? Blair-Taylor? They were going to attempt an all-volunteer army. Okay, Blair-Taylor, 10-point potential. Exxon has agreed to what nice round figure in a deal to settle government litigation over the nation's worst oil spill? Scott?
$1 billion?
That is correct for 10 points. Logan, identify this year's police car of choice. It has a 60% share of the law enforcement market. Barmore?
Ford Taurus.
No, that's not correct. So you take 5 points away. Pardon me, we don't take any points away, but Naring and Blair-Taylor, would you like to try?
Chevrolet Caprice?
Yes, that is correct for 5 points. Nothing taken away from Logan. 5 points for Blair-Taylor, plus a 10-point question for you folks. Anti-government protesters clashed with soldiers as the opposition demanded that President Ion Ilescu follow his prime minister and resign. Now, in what country did these events occur? Logan? Mira Bird?
Romania.
That is correct for 5 points. Logan, for 10 points, in her book, I Hope, Raisa Gorbachev reveals that her brother shares what problem with millions of other Russians? Blair-Taylor? Scott?
He's an alcoholic.
That is correct for 5 points. And here's a 10-point question for Blair-Taylor. Robert Gates has been questioned by a Senate committee about the Iran-Contra affair, which took place while he was deputy director of the CIA. At that time, who was director of the CIA? Naring?
Casey?
That is correct. William Casey for 10 points. Logan, in all likelihood, the Republican National Convention will make George Bush its standard bearer when it meets in what city this August? Barkowskis?
Atlanta.
No. Blair-Taylor? They're meeting in Houston, in the Astrodome, I believe. Okay, Blair-Taylor, for 10 points. Since 1989, the Bush administration has handed out more than 500 awards for good works by groups and individuals. The awards are named for a phrase in Bush's 1988 speech accepting the Republican presidential nomination. What are they called? Naring?
1,000 Points of Light?
That is correct. Points of Light awards for 10 points. Logan, here's your 10-point question. The Civil War was fought during the Lincoln administration. Who was our president during the War of 1812? Barkowskis?
Madison.
That is correct for 10 points. Blair-Taylor, sophomore means a student in his second year at college or high school. What is the literal meaning of the word in the original Greek? Crosse?
Wise fool.
That is correct for 10 points. Logan, Caesar crossed the Rubicon. What did Bleriot cross? Bleriot cross? Blair-Taylor? He was the first man to cross the English Channel by an airplane. The English Channel is what he crossed. Okay, Blair-Taylor, for 10 points. A man of many accomplishments was a brilliant German philosopher, physician, musician, missionary, and theologian, whose accomplishments in any one of these fields could be regarded as a full life's work for one man. He based his philosophy on what he called reverence for life. His years of work as a humanitarian won him the 1952 Nobel Peace Prize. Can you give me his name? Logan? Barmore.
Goethe?
No, I'm sorry. We have to take 5 points away. Albert Schweitzer. Schweitzer. Okay, Logan, here's a chance to make up 10 points. If I mention the swan, the rose, and the globe, what specifically would I be talking about? Mirror Bird.
Theaters.
That is correct, Blair-Taylor, the graph of the equation y equals x passes through what two quadrants? Scott.
The first and third.
That is correct. Logan, the Missouri Compromise provided that while Missouri would be admitted as a slave state, it must come in at the same time as a free state. What was the free state? Barkoskis.
Maine.
That is correct. Blair-Taylor, 5 gold stars, 1 large and 4 small on a field of red, describes the flag of this nation, founded in 1949. Name it. Crosse.
Liberia?
No, that's not correct. Logan? The People's Republic of China. Logan, with what French impressionist do you associate paintings of ruined cathedral, haystacks, and water lilies? Barkoskis.
Monet.
That is correct. And Blair-Taylor, biologists classify human blood vessels into 3 groups. What are they? Crosse.
Veins, arteries, and capillaries?
That is good for all 10 points. And that also concludes our questions in our first round of our high school challenge contest. A really exceptional first round. Be back to check on that score right after this short break.
It's Steenberg stock liquidation time. Prices reduced now on over 300 used homes and 250 new single and double wides. The Rent Buster, just $13,900. The Giant Rent Buster is $17,990. Used homes start at $995. Why do people buy from us? Our customers say low prices, big selection. Now's the time. Make a great buy. Steenberg stock liquidation sale.
Best buy in the Midwest, Steenberg Homes.
Highway 27 South, Sparta, and Wisconsin Dell.
Koala Yummies, Wendy's, Valley Square Theater, and WKBT have a special treat for kids young and old. Saturday, April 18th at 11 a.m. It's the Turtles. Tickets are $1.50 in advance or day of show. All kids get a free bag of Koala Yummies cookies. Keep your ticket because it's good for 1 pass to any movie at Valley Square. Brought to you by Koala Yummies, Wendy's, WKBT, and Valley Square Theaters. It's the Turtles. April 18th, 11 a.m.
Excellent!
Every year, 40,000 American babies die before their first birthday. You can change that in the March of Dimes Walk America Team Walk.
Call 608-785-0909.
Miller Medical Service has a professionally trained staff to help you. Doctor recommended and JACO approved. At Miller Medical Service, we care.
You know it's a good first round when you ask all of the questions because usually we don't get through them all.
Right.
But we had a lot of correct answers flying. And what was the outcome score-wise of that first round?
Very close. We have Logan with 50 and Blair-Taylor with 70, so it's a close game.
And you haven't had to make any judgment calls yet here,
No.
Bob, in that first
You're
round.
not giving
so
me any business.
In a way, I'm glad about that we haven't had any problems. But then again, too, we like to hear from you occasionally. So if you just want to chime in and say hi every once in a while, feel free.
I will. Be careful.
Okay, Bob. Well, because of what the score is, that being that Logan is a bit arrears at this point, they get the first question of our second round. Now, our second round is comprised of 10 questions, but each question has 3 parts. The first part is always worth 10 points, the second part worth 5, the third part worth 5. So there's a potential 20 points to be gained on each question, or you can get anything in increments of 5 as well, depending upon how much of the question you answer correctly. Okay, so begin with Logan, and here is your first question. If you are a citizen of the United States, Logan, you are called an American. Give me the most appropriate word describing citizens of these countries. Laos.
Laotian.
Correct for 10 points. Lebanon.
Lebanese.
Correct for 5 points. And Luxembourg.
Luxemburger.
That is also correct for all 20 points on that question. Blair-Taylor, identify these names beginning with the letter M, as in Mary, M. First, for 10 points, name Sherlock Holmes's arch-villain. That was Moriarty. Dustin Hoffman was nominated for an Academy Award for what film?
Mr. Mom.
No, Midnight Cowboy. And finally, name the dominant group of people of AD 802,701 in The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I saw that movie with Rod Taylor the other night, The Morlocks. The Morlocks. Okay, Logan, I have some Hollywood trivia for you. First, for 10 points, he became as famous for his cleft chin as for his starring roles in such films as Cast a Giant Shadow and Spartacus. Name this actor.
Douglas.
More specific?
Kirk.
That is correct, Identify the main character role in these movies. Nosferatu, 1923, Return of the Vampire, 1944, The House of Frankenstein, 1945, and Kiss of the Vampire, 1963.
Lugosi?
No, we're looking for Dracula. Dracula was the main character. And as a Hollywood producer, his credits include Samson and Delilah, King of Kings, and The Ten Commandments. Name him. Cecil B. DeMille. So we give you 10 points then for the Kirk Douglas answer. Okay, Blair-Taylor, identify these names in American history sharing the word old. The nickname of the USS Constitution.
Old Ironsides?
Correct, for 10 points. The steeple from which Paul Revere is supposed to have received the signal for his famous ride.
Old Chapel?
Old North Church. And the famous Yellowstone Park geyser.
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful is correct, so we give you 15 points on that question. Logan, the subject is the book of Genesis. For 10 points, who accused his brothers of being spies?
Cain.
That was Joseph. Which son of Jacob did not go to Egypt the time the rest of them did to buy grain? That was Benjamin. And finally, how many chapters are there in the book of Genesis?
42.
Not pretty close. 50, but I'm afraid not close enough for any points. Blair-Taylor, here's a 20-point potential question for you. In which mountain range are these mountains? First, Mount St. Helens.
Rocky Mountains?
Cascades. How about Mount Mitchell?
Appalachians?
That is correct for 5 points. And Mount Aconcagua. That would be the Andes, so we give you 5 points. Logan, who wrote the following English poems? First, Daffodils.
Keats.
William Wordsworth. How about Lochinvar?
Burns.
That was Sir Walter Scott. And finally, The Lady of Shalott.
Byron.
That was Tennyson. All right, Blair-Taylor. Who was President of the United States during each of the following events? First, for 10 points, the Confederates fired on Fort Sumter.
Lincoln?
Correct. The Japanese surrendered at the end of World War II.
Truman?
Correct. The second bank of the United States was rejected.
Jackson?
That is also correct for all 20 points. Logan, your subject is inventions. For 10 points, in 1800, an Italian inventor named Volta created what device for the production of electricity?
Battery.
Battery is correct. Elias Howe revolutionized the clothing industry with what 1846 invention? The sewing machine. And a new type of canning jar was invented in 1858. It allowed the preservation of garden fruits and vegetables. Name the screw cap jar. The mason jar, so we can give you 10 points. Blair-Taylor, your subject is nations. For 10 points, what is the name of the only country that borders only on Spain?
Portugal?
Correct. What nation lies between Pakistan and the USSR, or what used to be the USSR?
Bangladesh?
That would be Afghanistan. and the West African countries, Senegal and Gambia, united to form what new nation?
Central African Republic.
Senegambia. So we can only give you 10 points. And that does conclude our questions in our second round of our high school challenge game. Be back to check on that score, and we're waiting for that lightning round coming up right after this short break.
Here's some advice that'll help you next time you shop for a major appliance. Good news. Today's appliances are better than ever. This new air conditioner, for example, is much more energy efficient than those of just a few years ago. And some new appliances, like this refrigerator freezer or this hot water heater, cost only about half as much to operate as some others. So, check the energy guide before you decide. And remember, NSP offers cash rebates to encourage you to purchase more efficient appliances. So choose wisely. You'll end up saving for years to come.
Well, it's the final game of our third round of the high school challenge tournament for this year of 91-92, Bob. And what is our score in this game?
Well, it's still close and could be anybody's game. We have Logan with 90 and Blair-Taylor with 120.
Absolutely, because we're here now to the lightning round. And the lightning round is as many questions as can possibly be asked by me and answered by our teams in 1 minute of time. Now, the teams can work on this as a team, but the captain is who I key in on and who has to voice the answer. And but everybody can work on it. And if the team knows the answer, the captain yells it out, and I say either correct or incorrect. If they don't come up with an answer, rather than waste time, they should simply say pass, and then I'll ask the next question. So that's how it works. The clock has been set to 1 minute of time. I'm going to key on Mr. Barkowskis from Logan. He will be giving the answers to the questions. And nice and loud, please, Mr. Barkowskis. Okay? If you're ready, here we go. How many eyes does an earthworm have?
2.
Incorrect. Who won a Pulitzer Prize for his novel The Caine Mutiny?
Pass.
What city is sometimes called Gotham?
New York.
Correct. What is a Portuguese man of war?
Jellyfish.
Correct. How many squares are there on a checkerboard?
64.
Correct. Who invented the bifocal lens in 1780?
Benjamin Franklin.
Correct. Who killed 5 London prostitutes in 1888?
Jack the Ripper.
Correct. What's the best way to pick up a rabbit?
By the neck.
Correct. What is Ray Bradbury's Illustrated Man illustrated with?
Tattoos.
Correct. How many people were executed for Abraham Lincoln's assassination?
4.
Correct. What former beekeeper scaled Mount Everest?
Pass.
Who directed and made a cameo appearance in Chinatown?
Pass.
Whose epitaph reads, "Workers of all lands unite"?
Marx.
Correct. What animal's fleece yields lanolin?
Sheep.
Correct. What country saw the origin of lawn tennis?
England.
Correct. What's the name of the rabbit in Bambi?
Thumper.
Correct. What's the only female animal that has antlers?
Moose.
Incorrect. What color is the 8-ball in... That concludes Logan's attempt. A very good round of the lightning round there for 1 minute. Many questions answered correctly. We'll reset the clock now to 1 minute. We'll reset that clock, and then we'll look up to Blair-Taylor. Mr. Naring, we'll ask you to speak up nice and loud for us, please. If you know the question, give me the answer. I'll either say correct or incorrect. If you don't know it, say pass, and I'll go on to the next question, so we give you the opportunity to answer as many questions as possible. So our clock is set back to 1 minute, and Blair-Taylor, if you are ready to begin, here we go. What U.S. state is free of houseflies?
Pass.
What American poet won the Pulitzer Prize 4 times?
Longfellow.
Incorrect. What was Uncle Sam's biggest real estate deal?
Alaska Purchase.
Incorrect. What metal makes up 10% of yellow gold?
Silver.
Incorrect. What U.S. state's name begins with A but doesn't end with it? What city does Prestwick Airport serve?
Seattle.
Incorrect. Who spoke the first recorded message, Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Thomas Jefferson.
Incorrect. Who is considered the first lady of the American stage?
Pass.
What line divided the North and South in the U.S. Civil War?
Mason-Dixon line.
Correct. What Mormon leader was said to have had 27 wives?
Brigham Young.
Correct. What is the root of all evil?
Money.
Correct. Who was known as the Serpent of the Nile?
Pass.
What line divides a circle into two semicircles?
Diameter.
Correct. What are most of the solar system's planets named for?
Pass.
Who was the humpback bell ringer of Notre Dame?
Quasimodo.
Correct. What U.S. city skyline boasts the Gateway Arch?
St. Louis.
Correct. How many sides? We'll be back to tally the score of the lightning round right after this short break.
Let's say this is one of those typically beautiful tourism commercials, and seeing it, you wanted to do this. You probably couldn't find this place. After all, you're not from here. But when you come to Minnesota this summer, we'll help you find exactly the vacation you want. So if you want to be here, do some of this, or maybe see this, you should come here.
Need some ideas for your vacation? Get the Minnesota Explorer. It's free, and it's full of things to see and do all over the state. It'll also help you contact our travel counselors and other people who will help you find the getaway you want. Whatever it is, call 1-800-235-9000 for the free Minnesota Explorer.
Well, Dr. Bob Pevitz, an exciting high school challenge contest.
Certainly was.
The final score.
We have Blair-Taylor with 180 and Logan with 210.
When you said it was anybody's ball game, you
It
were
is.
right.
The lightning round
That
can really
makes
change.
all the difference. Both teams did an excellent job.
Right.
They just kept those answers coming. And we would like to invite the captains to come on over and accept our congratulations of participating in our game. First, Mr. Naring from Blair-Taylor invites you to come over and congratulate you. Thank you very much for being here. We sure enjoyed having you. And we hope you'll come back again next year.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, great. Mr. Barkowskis from Logan, if you'd come over and
Congratulations.
accept our congratulations for a fine contest. And we'll look forward to seeing you a little later on as our high school challenge tournament continues.
Great.
Okay. Coming up next week on the high school challenge, we begin the semifinals. Next week, it's Sparta versus Harmony. The high school challenge here on Channel 8 WKBT. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
He is the challenge.